Anything new in workers' compensation? People who have been injured that are on workers' comp know the nuts and bolts as it dealt with their case, but is this something that is pretty much the same year after year, or are there changes to know about?
Well, really interesting you asked that. I mean, yes and no. Yes, in that workers' comp has worked the same way for a long time. This past year, we did have a judge in Alabama rule the act unconstitutional, which put the act at risk as far as having no workers' comp anymore. It was a circuit judge decision. It was stayed. It never went up on appeal. The case was ultimately settled, so it never got to issue on the appellate courts, but it got people's attention, and we've got some problems with workers' comp that need to be fixed and attended to, and so people are doing that now. That whole thing that happened got people on that, built the energy to get something done.
If it's not too complicated for lay folks like me, and I don't want to take you too far into the weeds as people say, what did the judge rule was unconstitutional? What about it did he say wasn't right?
Two things specifically. One was the $220 cap, which applies to permanent partial disability, which severely limits your recovery in permanent partial disability, and the other was the attorney's fee that's been capped for a long time at 15%. He ruled both of those to be unconstitutional. And other states have ruled in similar situations those types of things to be unconstitutional.
The thinking being that if you limit someone's ability to recover damages, that in itself is unconstitutional in his thinking, you believe?
Yes, and also it was the only part of workers' comp that was limited in that way. Other benefits are indexed to be changed or be modified or increased every year. And this was locked in. It was supposed to be done back in 1985, was never done. We've gone back to it time and time again. It's never been corrected, and it's gotten to a point where it's a very, very serious problem. And we've got people working on that right now, committees working on that to try to resolve it, to go to the legislature, try to get it changed. Because if not, it's going to come back to a judge again. It's going to be ruled unconstitutional. We have the risk of not having a Workers' Compensation Act in the state of Alabama.